Good morning. My name is Dan Gullett. I'm Principal Planner in the Planning Division at the City of Santa Barbara. I'm Staff Hearing Officer today and convening the meeting of April 3rd, 2024, and starting with preliminary matters. Ms. Gu, are there any requests for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or addition of ex-agenda items?
I have not received any for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And any announcements and appeals?
None so far. Thank you.
Thank you. I also have none. Next on the agenda are comments from members of the public pertaining to items not on this agenda. Ms. Gu, is there anyone who's participating remotely today?
On checking Zoom, I do not see any attendees and raised hands. Thank you.
Thank you. And anyone in attendance in person who would like to speak on items not on this agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our one item on this agenda. It's 1425 Mission Ridge Road, and I have a few slides of project description that I'll read through very quickly. This is a new item. It's a 1.92 acre site developed with a 4,390 square foot single-family, single-unit residence with a 3,660 square foot basement, 550 square foot attached two-car garage, 704 square foot detached three-car garage, 480 square foot detached accessory structure, and a pool, terrace, and landscaping. The existing basement was originally designed as a game room. Related plans depict a pool table, ping pong table, an archery darts area, seating area, etc., as well as a separate workshop area, bathroom, and storage and mechanical rooms. The project today consists of a request for a zoning modification to grant relief from the accessory building floor area standards. The proposal is to convert the existing basement from a game room to an automobile and memorabilia display room, with the ability to move items in and out for the purpose of storage and display only. The proposal includes removal of an interior non-bearing wall and permitting of an as-built interior turntable and bollard. The displays would consist of collectibles ranging from antique cars, bikes, motorcycles, video games, and various airplane parts. The discretionary application under the jurisdiction of the staff hearing officer at this hearing is an accessory floor area modification to allow accessory building square footage above 1,950 square feet allowed by right for the site. Staff determined that the project qualifies for an exemption from further environmental review under Section 15303 of the CEQA guidelines. And Ms. Barbara Burkhart is here as staff to present the project.
Thank you, Mr. Gullett. Appreciate the introduction. Before I get started, I just want to make one clarification as an error that I made on the staff report. The 480 square foot detached accessory structure that I called out as a yoga room has actually been converted to an ADU. It doesn't change our analysis of the project. It doesn't change the way accessory square footage is calculated. I just wanted to clarify that error in the report.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the site is located in a residential single-unit zone, which is intended to provide areas for single-unit housing on individual lots at low density. So that's 1 unit per lot with allowances for ADUs. This site is located on Mission Ridge Road at the southern terminus of Franceschi Road here. The site includes...
sorry, Ms. Burkhart. Ms. Gu, could you put up Ms. Burkhart's screen, please? Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't notice that. The site is developed with a single-unit residence. There is a 2-car garage about here that's attached. There's a detached 3-car garage here. This area is where the ADU is. And then the portion of the site that we're looking at today is down this driveway here, and it's a basement area that's in this vicinity here. There is pretty steep topography I want to point out at the rear of the site. It drops significantly here. So as you stated, a zoning modification is requested for relief from accessory building floor area standards. The property owner would like to convert the existing basement from a game room to an automobile and memorabilia display room. No added square footage or exterior improvements are proposed. However, changing the use of this space changes how we count accessory floor area and triggers the requirement for a modification. So to explain that a bit further, the definition of an accessory building in terms of how we count floor area is all attached and detached covered parking, and then any other detached accessory buildings. So right now, the square footage of the basement is not counted in accessory square footage, but once it becomes a garage, it is counted and puts the site over what their allowance. They're entitled to 1,950 square feet, and then the addition of this garage, including the basement as a garage, puts the square footage at 3,444 square feet. There really are no alternatives that were entertained because there's no option for storing these vehicles on site that wouldn't have that square footage counted as accessory square footage. So it wasn't desired to build a new garage. The site is pretty developed and it's steep there at the rear, so there's not much room for that. Staff is supportive of the request because the garage will be converted from existing floor area, and the space would really function as storage more than anything else. It's antique vehicles, they would rarely be operated. And staff does request that the staff hearing officer include a condition of approval. It's in the staff report that the 3,660 square feet of new garage floor area shall be used strictly for the storage and display of antique vehicles and memorabilia. So we have that request as part of our support of the request. And then lastly, staff did determine the project qualifies for a categorical exemption under CEQA, which is section 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures, which does allow for the conversion of existing small structures from one use to another, where only minor modifications are made, and none of the exceptions to the exemption under CEQA apply. And so that will conclude my presentation. The applicant, Mr. Oxner, is here if he would like to add anything. I will also just continue scrolling through the plans here. This is the area of the basement here. This wall is proposed to be removed, a bollard added here, and a turntable here. It's flush with the floor. These are just some specs on those items. And then there's a photo board that was provided by the applicant. And I'll let Mr. Oxner take it from here if he wishes to do so.
Thank you, Ms. Burkhardt. Mr. Oxner, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Good morning. My name is Tom Oxner. I think staff has done a good job in representing our request. The applicant, the owner, is very appreciative of the flexibility related to this unique request. The ability to store his on-site memorabilia is very important to him, and it really is. It's great to see that flexibility show up in this determination for a modification. So, in terms of any history of that space down there, it was intended as a game room, and as time goes on, the desire to make collections were there, and a lot of that is heavy things that need accessible routes to it. So very appreciative of staff support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxner. Ms. Gu, are there any participants on Zoom?
On checking Zoom, I do not see any attendees or raised hands. Thank you.
Okay, and there's no attendees in the room, so we don't have public comment. And thanks for the good work, Ms. Burkhardt. I did review the proposed condition. So the proposed condition states, as you stated, 3,660 square foot of the new garage floor area shall be used strictly for the storage and display of antique vehicles and memorabilia. I would change strictly to primarily. So the floor area shall be used primarily for the storage of and display of antique vehicles and memorabilia, because there are some things in the list that may not qualify as antique vehicles or memorabilia, and these things change over time. This requirement for a permit for this is a technicality, as you mentioned. If this was an art gallery or something else, a private art gallery, or storage of other things, it wouldn't require this modification of accessory space. The zoning ordinance anticipates that garage space is used for essentially regular use of vehicles, and this isn't that. So I do agree with the conditions, that the modification is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and specific purposes of the zoning district, and wouldn't detrimentally affect the residential character of the neighborhood. So I can approve this modification with the condition change that strictly becomes primarily for the storage and display of antique vehicles and memorabilia, with the conditions, or sorry, with the findings in the staff report. I did note that the plans state that the proposed parking is 0 for the site. I think that's mistaken, because nothing was happening with the 2-car garage or the 3-car garage. Is that correct? I'd like to add another condition prior to issuance of the building permit that be corrected on the plans to reflect that 5 covered parking spaces would remain. And with that, I can approve the project. This project is appealable to the Planning Commission. And Ms. Gu, could you put up the other slide deck, please? Thank you. Within 10 calendar days. And there's instructions on this slide on how one would do that. For further information on how to do that, you could contact planning staff at this phone number, or come into 630 Garden Street. And with that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.